This is the BrockCast. As promised, we are putting together a short clip segment here of just some quick talk of Brockton Loaded issues happening at City Hall, because going on right now, yes, I recorded this a little bit earlier, but it is about 8 o'clock right now, and it is halfway through, if not a third of the way through, the World Series Game 6. The Houston Astros are all over it, up 3-2, playing the Nationals in Houston. So we cannot compete with that. I get that. So what we're going to do is put this up this evening. You can watch it. It's going to be fun. About 10 minutes, no more than that. And then we'll come back live again next Tuesday, 8 o'clock p.m. I'm going to have an in-house special guest, Raymond Ford, running for Constable in Precinct 2, Bexar County Constable. We're going to learn about what that is, what a constable does, what his platform is, what Raymond's after. But essentially, we're going to have a special guest in studio and get back to our issues and things that matter most on next week's Brockton Loaded. Streaming live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Next week, Tuesday, 8 o'clock, the BrockCast will be back live. But tonight, obviously, we're going to do something short, sweet, and fun so we can keep it going and keep you engaged. I need you to like and share this no matter what. Let's bring as many people into the podcast as we can, because the issues and things we're doing, the things we're talking about here tonight and every night from here on out, or what we've talked about the last 10 episodes, has been about the issues at City Hall, the things that matter most to you, the people you're electing and putting in office, the decisions they're making, and how they affect you every day. So we've got to be all over that. Share this information, push it out there. And if you got things you want to talk about, send it in to us. You can comment below in the notes. Let us know what you think, what you want to talk about, who should be invited on the show. Let us know, bring it forward, and we'll knock it out and take care of it. Normally, the flow is pretty simple. We talk about some fun things. We talk about some serious stuff. We close with fun things. Tonight, a couple of fun things that I want to run by you. Number one, of course, I'm wearing my Saints shirt. The Saints, of course, won with the return of Drew Brees. I'm not making any Super Bowl predictions here, but I'm liking the Saints' chances when the big show comes. So a big win. Drew Brees returns from a thumb injury, leading them to a win over the Cardinals. Absolutely amazing, but I won't be making any other NFL jokes specifically about the Dolphins. Tough night the other night. But we're having a good time. The Dallas Cowboys are up and won a game so here or there, and they're coming back a little bit. So we'll be nice to the Cowboys tonight and just praise Drew Brees and the Saints. And, of course, that one's for my wife, who is a Saints super fan. All right, World Series going on right now. Just in the spirit of things, I want to show you this video. It's absolutely hilarious. It's the Beer Man video from the game a couple of days ago in Washington, D.C. Check this out. At the Nationals ballpark on a home run shot. Check it out.
2-1. That is hit into left center field. Back at the wall. It is gone. There it is. A beer in each hand.
Okay, well, you cannot get any cooler than that. Look, if you have life goals, man, you want to be the mayor of San Antonio like I did, life goal. You want to make $1 million a year, life goal. You want to be the best dad, father, kid. You want whatever it is in your life. You want to own your own business. Those are life goals. But I'm telling you right here, right now, that guy hung on to both of his beers, right? That's an ode to really be, that's a manly move. Both beer cans in his hand, ball flying in. He could drop one, grab a ball and a souvenir, but no. This guy hung on to both those cervezas, waited, let the ball hit him. It rolled off of him, and the dude becomes a legend, right? That's the world we live in. He is now legendary over his ball catch. Not with his hands or a glove, or not by his child, but by his beer gut. So that is an absolutely awesome lead into what's going on tonight with the World Series. Hopefully the Astros will close it out here in the next couple hours. Nonetheless, that Nationals fan, look, the Nationals hopefully will not win this World Series, but they have won the internet with that ball gut catch and saving of the beer. So here's to you, dude. We love you. That was a fantastic catch. I hope you enjoyed that one. Now let's get into a few quick hits, just some things to talk about. At City Hall, going on right now, what's an interesting piece, and you may not be hearing too much about it right now, but Councilman Clayton Perry in District 10, if you remember, he called in last week and talked to us about some of his votes and the things he's done at City Hall. Well, there is an opening in County Commissioner Court, Precinct 3. So Kevin Wolf stepped down recently, and the primary is coming up here in March. And there's about 4 or 5 people have jumped in the race. A couple shows ago, we had Kenny Villespin on, but in this particular case, Clayton Perry is considering vacating his seat in District 10 to run for County Commissioner in Precinct 3. So when you're a council person, if you announce your intention to run for a higher office, you have to leave. If it's something like a county commissioner, state representative, you have to vacate your seat, which is going to trigger an appointment process, and then potentially, depending on the timing, if it's more than, I think, 270 days from the election, it will trigger a special election. So nobody really knows where Councilman Perry is on this, but the biggest concern, look, I'll be honest with you, Councilman Perry and I were the lone voices in opposition oftentimes at City Hall. Clayton brings a very conservative, fiscally minded, back-to-basics type mentality to City Council, and the both of us during our term in 2017 and 2019 worked a lot together on just making sure City Hall followed the basics. Like, you could spend billions on housing, billions on climate, billions on transportation, and as we've seen at City Hall, not get a lot done, right? Broken processes, backdoor meetings, things happening all over the place that citizens don't know about. But Clayton Perry, after 2019, when he took office at District 10 in his second term, he is the sole voice out there, right? So I have really grave concerns about that. But at the same time, he's got an opportunity to run for County Commissioner in Precinct 3. And those jobs don't come open very often. So it's going to be an interesting week. Hard to say if the councilman's going to resign or if he's going to stay. If he stays, look, he's still on that island, lonely island by himself, probably on the short side of a lot of 10-1 votes. But he's a voice of opposition. And in a city council like this, you need that one person that's at least going to advertise what the heck is going on out there. I prided myself on that during my time on council, as just at least saying it, man. Look, the more people know, the better the government, right? The more lights that shined on those rooms, right? The more we discuss and bring things out of the darkness, the better the policy is going to be. And it's okay to disagree. So, it's going to be an interesting piece. If he goes, we're going to lose that. And the potential to come on the back end of that on an appointment is who knows what. It will most likely be another Ron Nirenberg acolyte or Ron Nirenberg wannabe. So then that council's 11-0 on the craziest progressive socialist issues we've probably seen already on this council in 25, 30 years, but it's going to get progressively worse if we don't have a voice or somebody down there. But if Councilman Perry gets in the race, it's going to be a great one to watch, man. It's going to be popcorn time because you've got business executive Trish DeBerry announced a couple of weeks ago. She's in the race. She ran for mayor over 10 years ago. It's got a heck of a track record, business success, well known in the community, tons of support already. You've got a few other folks like Kenny Villespin, Weston Martinez. They're all in the campaign as well. Celeste Brown. But really this race, if it happens, is going to come down between Clayton Perry and Trish DeBerry. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And it's just going to be an interesting race to watch and see what happens. But that is the lone highest Republican elected position in the county, right? That's it. It's probably the plum Republican seat you can get within all of Bexar County or the city of San Antonio as Commissioner Precinct 3. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a fun time. But a resignation's always an interesting period at City Hall. Keep an eye out for it. That one's coming as well. Last week, the city council was off, so as I always say, we lose some great material, unfortunately, when they take their time off. So our comedy level is a little bit lower right now because city council wasn't working last week, but they're back this week, and I'm sure they'll give us some fun stuff. Some national news I want to hit for you. I put a couple of notes down here. There's 2 big things happening on Thursday, 2 huge things. Number one is the impeachment inquiry vote on Donald Trump is happening this Thursday. So finally, the House of Representatives, led, of course, by Speaker Pelosi, is going to turn around and start to vote on the impeachment inquiry procedures. If you've been watching, the president and his team have been asking for really weeks saying that this is not a legitimate impeachment process because there wasn't a vote. Well, now we're going to start seeing some votes. So it's going to be interesting to see who falls where, because this impeachment process has been hovering around 50-50. The president in some states, in swing states, is the impeachment process is really not liked, right? People have problems with it, with impeaching the president this close to an election. Those are swing states. When you look at it across the country nationally, impeachment is about 50-50. People want it, 50 people don't, right? So it's an interesting time and an interesting process. So, but the vote's going to tell a lot, right? This is going to start a very particular process. It's going to be laid out. We can get some of this impeachment inquiry out from behind closed doors. We're going to see testimony, and then we're going to learn, because I'm telling you, I got to wonder, is Donald Trump, is he manipulating? Is he got the puppet strings, right? You know, the Godfather puppet strings? Has he got them out there and he's just playing everybody? For instance, this Baghdadi killing the other day when he sent in the SEALs and forces to take out ISIS's #1 leader in the globe. Was the president planning this all along? You know, people are talking about this stuff. Like, he says we're pulling out of Syria. Does everybody let their guard down and then he sends the special forces in to take out ISIS? It's hard to say. Like, is the president, I hear this all the time, is the president really masterminding this, or is he out of his mind, right? Like, this is it. Mastermind, out of his mind. And we're going to learn that over time here. But I'll caution people, in politics, you don't ever underestimate or really overestimate your opponent. You stick to your game plan and do your job. The Democrats, here's what's interesting. The Democrats are so focused on Trump that they're not doing their job when it comes to reelectability and winning elections. Because right now, impeachment is not doing well. It's underwater from an approval perspective in key swing states. I mean, they've got to win Wisconsin, Michigan, Florida, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania. Those are the states that are going to decide this presidential election. Well, here, guess what? People don't like impeachment in a lot of those states. So keep an eye out for it. It's going to be one heck of a run, and we're going to have to watch what's happening. The other big deadline on October 31st is Julian Castro. Look, any chance we get to talk about one of the Castros, this would be JC1, because he was born first, all of a minute ahead of his congressman brother. So Julian Castro swore that he said on his press release, on his website, everywhere he went, that if he did not raise $800,000 by October 31st, he was getting out of the race, right? He's going to take his ball, walk out of the sand pit, head on home, right? Back to San Antonio. Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's moving somewhere else. Who knows? But here's the tough question. Is he going to stay after the 31st? Part of me wants him to, because frankly, we have a good old time talking about him. The other part of me says, nah, it's time for you to go, because you can't even get 1% in these polls. Why are you in the race? But no, we're going to see. So he threatened to leave. I don't know if that's going to rustle up $800,000 for him. As we've already seen, 53% in polling in San Antonio don't believe he's fit to be president of the United States. So those numbers are reflecting themselves in the national election, because he can't even get 1%. He's polling, I think I made a joke the other day, he's polling 14th out of 12 positions. Like, this guy can't even get on the radar. So keep an eye out for it. Castro deadline on the 31st. We'll talk about it next week. I'm willing to put my money on this, that he ends up staying, and because he can't help himself, right? He believes he's got this right because of his history and his long executive experience to be president. Well, neither are true. But I think he's probably going to hit his mark and stick around for a little bit longer, and then he will not make the debate thresholds in December, and I think that's the end of his campaign. But he's going to hang on, and it's good for politics and comedy. So that's the national news there. A couple of key things. Don't forget, Clayton Perry, possible resignation at City Hall to run for Precinct 3. What's going on with the impeachment vote this Thursday? Stay tuned. Watch it. We'll cover it next week. And then Castro's fundraising deadline is going to be absolutely awesome. It's popcorn time when we see his announcement. I'm willing to bet he probably got like $800,000, $50. Like, he's miraculously going to get just enough to torment us with his very pitiful campaign for another 6 months or God knows what. All right, finally, I'll leave you with this. A little bit of a Brockton loaded segment. In the paper the last couple of days, over the weekend on Sunday, there was a long Express News expose on Chick-fil-A. And in that article, it talked about how it downloaded, so the city was under investigation by the Attorney General's office as well as the Federal Aviation Administration for that decision back in March to kick Chick-fil-A out of the airport based on their anti-LGBT positions, according to the city council. Well, this last Sunday, the Express News was able to uncover through open records requests all the material and emails back and forth between the mayor, his team, his staff, city council members, talking about that decision. A lot of things I see in the news today right now are from different people on social media, is that they don't understand why this issue is not going away. They're like, the liberal, the progressive, especially Ron Nirenberg, who considers this a complete and total non-issue, had said, I don't understand why this is even going on. Why won't this die? So tonight's Brockton Loaded segment, short and sweet, but it's about, Ron, this is why it won't die. Bad decisions have a way of affecting our community for decades. Bad decisions destroy trust. Bad decisions at City Hall just don't make you upset or a few people in a neighborhood association. It permeates everything. There was an important note that came out of that investigation by the Express News. It was something like 1,090 responses were received in the first couple days after the Chick-fil-A vote. Guess how many of those responses were in favor supporting the city council's decision? 12. You can't get 99%. That's 99.9% of any group, any city, any club, any organization, anybody, 99% to agree on anything anymore. But they were 100% almost certain that that was a piss-poor decision from the San Antonio City Council. So tonight on the Brockton Loaded segment, this is another clear message. I fought that when I was at City Hall. I pushed it. I tried to force a second vote on it. You know what was scary to me about our city? At the end of that vote, when it came down to the second vote, when I tried to get Chick-fil-A reinstated, was that there were almost 100 faith-based leaders came downtown to City Hall. And they stood in the chambers. They stood up and wanted an opportunity to speak, to have their voice heard, the same as anybody else at City Hall, the faith community. And our mayor, our mayor and the city attorney, really led by Mayor Ron Nirenberg, blocked them from speaking, no words whatsoever, to defend their faith and help people understand at City Hall why this matters. All the goofy crap about it's a chicken sandwich and give me a break and they're hate groups and all those things are lies. They're outright lies. So if you want to get Brockton Loaded about something, understand that when you attack someone personally, what their moral value is, the things that matter most to them, then you've awoken a sleeping giant. And that's, Ron, why it won't go away. In those emails that were uncovered by the Express News, Ron Nirenberg clearly said this is a non-issue. Doesn't matter. He can't understand it. He's going to stand firm by his decision. He'd rather have Whataburger. So I want you to remember that. I want you to think about that. Ron Nirenberg says what matters most to you is a non-issue, a zero issue to him and his city council. It's a non-issue. Faith is a non-issue. He turned around and tried to say it was about, let me tell you, it's about being closed on Sunday. Sunday's the 5th busiest day at the airport. Chick-fil-A makes more money in 6 days than any other restaurant does in 7. You can go down the talking points to understand that Ron Nirenberg is lying to you. But that lack of leadership, Ron, those decisions lead for years. Bad decisions permeate, and they spawn further bad decisions and situations that embarrass our city. We're still pending an FAA investigation. Perhaps Chick-fil-A is going to get reinstated, and the Attorney General's not done with them either. There are plenty of people suing City Hall, but this is more important than I think anything else because San Antonio is a culture built on faith. Ron, you don't get that in spite of the overwhelming opposition. It's not about an election anymore. It's about what's doing right for our community, respecting faith. That's the core culture of San Antonio. Ron, you don't get it. And hopefully, eventually, somebody, will stand up at City Hall and continue to make that argument that the right thing, it's never too late to do the right thing. And I'm praying that that does happen and for the faith community across our city, which is, by the way, overwhelmingly, this is a faith-based driven community of love and respect and honor. Everybody's included in faith, right? Let's hope that decision fixes itself. That's tonight's Brockton Loaded. That issue never seems to want to go away. It's absolutely awesome that the power of God, right, the power of our Lord, is opening eyes in San Antonio. And it did. It opened them in this political arena. Now we'll see where it takes us. But I encourage you to get involved, vote, understand what's happening at City Hall. Stay tuned to this. Like and share the podcast. so that everybody knows what's happening. At the end of the day, as long as everybody has the facts and the decisions are made fairly, it's the best you can ask for. If you lose a vote, you lose a vote. If you lose an election, you lose an election. It's okay, but don't give up. Always work hard. Do your best to understand what's happening. People died for your vote. Don't do it any injustice by not understanding the facts and working hard and being a part of it. So let's get after it next week. We're back next Tuesday, 8 o'clock p.m. Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitter. We're going to be on live stream. We're going to be here for you. Raymond Ford, Constable Candidate Precinct 2's in-house. We're going to talk about all kinds of issues that pop up this week. This is the BrockCast. We're on a pre-record. Hopefully the Astros are up. We will see you next Tuesday. We are out.